This is the story of Samira, who got married at the age of 19. She had a son and named him Henry. Samira's husband was a successful businessman. 9 months later, Henry was born. Samira's husband passed away in a car accident. After her husband's death, Samira joined his husband's office and now had to manage both the household and the office, which was all new to her, but she handled everything remarkably well. In the office, there was a man named Ryan who worked as a sales manager. He desired to marry Samira because of her wealth, but Samira focused solely on her work and was not interested in anything else. Ryan knew that if he married Samira, he would also become wealthy, so he resorted to black magic to make Samira fall in love with him. Under the spell, Samira felt drawn to Ryan and eventually proposed to him herself. Due to the magic, Samira was under his control, doing whatever Ryan asked. They married within a few days, and Ryan took control of the business, though he never became the owner, as the true heir was Samira's son, Henry. When Henry turned 9, Ryan began giving him a medicine that made him lose the ability to walk. He also started creating illusions in the house that only Henry could see but were not actually there, which ultimately drove Henry to mental distress. Henry suffered a lot and was lost in his own thoughts for all the time, and his actions pushed him towards insanity. By the time Henry turned 20, Ryan tried everything to convince Samira to send her son to a mental asylum. But her love for Henry was too strong, and the magic had no effect when it came to her son. Ryan could make Samira do anything else, but he couldn't make her abandon Henry. As the time passed, Samira herself began to fall ill. To care for Henry, Samira hired a caretaker named Hannah. Hannah was a responsible young woman who were taking care of her elderly parents and siblings. She took excellent care of Henry and one day noticed that the medicine Henry was taking had a different name hidden under the bottle's label. Hannah asked Henry if he knew why he was taking the medicine, but Henry was too confused to explain anything. Hannah started observing everything closely and eventually realized that it was Henry's stepfather, Ryan, who was behind it all. She tried to tell Samira, but Samira dismissed it as Hannah's doubt. But Hannah didn't stop and took Henry to a doctor under the guise of going for a walk. The doctor prescribed the correct medicine, and with Hannah's cure, Henry recovered, but he kept his recovery a secret. Together, Henry and Hannah began monitoring Ryan's every move. One day, they sneaked into a room where no one was allowed. Inside, they found dolls and objects used for black magic, along with a shiny book in the cupboard. Hannah took the book and left the room. Hannah began reading the book, which detailed how black magic works and how to break its effects. To break the spell, they needed a feather from the firebird, a task that would require facing many dangers. Hannah told Henry she would go alone to retrieve the feather because if Henry went, Ryan might find out and it would put Samira's life at risk. Following the instructions in the book, Hannah set off on her journey. Her first stop was a dark forest, a haunted palace filled with ghosts and spirits. Only those who passed through without fear could move forward. Hannah bravely crossed the forest. Next, she reached a cave where 3 paths lay ahead. 2 paths were filled with fire, leading to certain death, while only one was safe. Hannah noticed faint light coming from 2 paths, while one was completely dark. She chose the dark path and walked forward. As she proceeded, she came across a door that posed a riddle.
The more there is, the less you see. What is it?
Hannah thought for a moment and answered, Darkness! The door opened, revealing the firebird sleeping inside. Gently, Hannah plucked a feather and returned to Henry. When she returned to Samira's house, Henry was overjoyed to see her alive. Together, they placed the feather on the sleeping Ryan. Immediately, Ryan caught fire, and the black magic spell on Samira was broken. Samira became healthy again. This way, Hannah's wisdom and courage freed both Samira and Henry from Ryan's evil grasp and ended up being the sales manager of Samira's and Henry's company and worked hard for the progress of the company.